Okie dokie, you ready?
Yeah, baby.
Welcome back to the Public Pool Podcast. I'm Michaela Pascal, and you are Jack O'Shea, and we're back.
We are so back. We just got back from a
week-long trip.
excursion.
Excursion's the right word.
Yeah.
It was so funny. The last time we were filming, I realized in the last 2 minutes of
Yeah,
filming,
like there's no way we're going to be able to do it.
I was like, oh yeah, next week we can't film a podcast. I have zero perception of time, and so honestly, the podcast gives me the most structure in my life than I've had in years.
It's really, really true.
Where it's like, okay, I know one day a week. Because normally we just kind of work 7 days a week and then we take off the days we have to take off.
Yeah, basically we work 7 days a week and then sometimes we don't work for 2 straight weeks. It's like one of those.
There's no structure to our lives.
Be your own boss, you know?
Be your own boss, girls.
We're basically a pyramid scheme.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
That's sort of we work out of our garage. Except we don't out of our garage.
Yeah.
But like out of our, metaphorical garage.
Out of our metaphorical garage.
Is what we do. But we were in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And then I guess you'll find out. We also went to another place, but you'll find that out in another week. Can't talk about that.
Say anything yet.
But we went to 2 places.
2 places.
But the first place we went was Wisconsin.
Yes. And I guess we'll just kind of hop right into it today. I feel like. So I guess we're going to do a little bit of some personal sports gossip this week, a little bit.
Absolutely. And actually, really quickly before we do, I'm just going to tell you how we're feeling physically. And I'm going to say how we're feeling. It's really more me, but I think Michaela might agree. This is sort of we never like drank hard. Like at no point did I have the spins going to bed.
Yeah.
But I also never went to bed sober.
I actually drink way less than I should have. I think I was drinking really slow. It was just one of those things where it was like every activity you go to, it's like you get a drink type of thing. And like, I'm someone where it's like, if I'm drinking, I'm like, I'm getting drunk tonight, girl.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't really a week for that. And so I kind of was just drinking. And so I kind of had that like bad, I'm sobering up feeling once an hour.
Yeah. I had that too. And so I would medicinally be, there was a couple times where I was like, I actually need a beer. Otherwise, I think I'm going to have a panic attack.
Yeah, like I love cocktails and wine because I just feel it more, and I'm like, okay, good to go. With like
and they taste better to you.
Yeah, but like with other drinks, it's like I'm not a quick drinker. Like I'm a very slow drinker, so it's like if I'm having a beer, it takes me a long time to feel anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's why, and I'm the opposite, where I drink everything at beer speed. Yeah. Because I learned to drink through beer. So it's weird, like. I'm constantly, every like 30 seconds, I'm going to take a sip. Yeah. So where I get in trouble is when I'm having a non-beer cocktail or wine night. That's when I get housed.
Yeah, but I feel like, I guess it's almost easier for me to just like keep sipping wine.
Yeah.
It's something about beers and seltzers where it's like, it's hard for me to take more than like a sip.
Well, seltzers are bubbly.
Yeah.
Like they'll make you burp. Like and then again, beer, it's like.
Beer will make me burp.
That, but also you're fine with beer, but you just, like a lot of people, don't love the flavor of beer, which makes sense because is there one person in the world who isn't like a Viking in like the 1400s who had a sip of beer and wasn't like, people drink this?
I know. It's this trip I've come around a little bit more to beer.
Yeah.
I think because I kind of had to in certain circumstances, but like in general, no, I'm just not a beer girl.
You know what? Drinking beer is gone, which by the way is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Beer girls are a special breed, and I love my beer girls.
We love our beer girls.
Love them. Even though usually the girls like the St. Pauli's girls or the Miller Lite girls or anything, you can tell they're not drinking a ton of beer. Beer. The dad bod is brought to you by beer. Yeah, that's what creates the dad bod is beer. It's funny too. It's like, and honestly. You might remove this because it might be too early in the podcast to do anything like this, but it's kind of like smoking cigarettes with beer. The first like 5 beers you have, you're like, this is awful. Yeah. But I'm doing it to be part of this social thing. The first cigarette you have, you want to die. Yeah. You spin so hard. So for people who are addicted to cigarettes, it means that they literally were like, they wanted the addiction so bad, they powered through it. It's true though.
They earned the addiction.
They earned it. They were like, no, I remember when I used to throw up all the time every time I smoked. The first time you ever smoke a cigarette, you think you're going to pass out.
I bet.
You really do.
You never
finished one.
I've never I've never smoked a cigarette.
You'd be done for the night.
I know.
I'm telling you, you'd be done. Say,
and so I've been kind of, now it's become a thing in my life where I'm like saving it for a special moment.
Yes.
Like where I'm like,
but you shouldn't.
But that the more that I think about it,
you'll ruin the moment.
No, exactly. Like I shouldn't, because I thought about doing it on our wedding night, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
You'd throw up. You would have thrown up the whole night. The first time you smoke a cigarette, you literally like, is there a chair nearby? I need to sit because I'm gonna like. It would be so dangerous for you to be operating a motor vehicle and take a
I'm sure.
Finish a cigarette.
I'm sure.
And that's what every cigarette smoker has, that same experience of like, yeah, I remember when it sucked. And then when you're addicted to it, you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Like so that I could be addicted?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck though?
I feel like it's almost like not quite the same, but like when you're a little kid and like, I feel like every little kid does it once where they accidentally, or maybe on purpose, like take a sip of like your parents' like drink.
Yes.
And it's like tequila or something like that. And you're the burn you feel, like the true first alcohol feeling you feel, you're like, oh my God, adults drink this?
Yeah, like, you're like on purpose?
I remember my mom one time, like she had one of those like reusable cups or whatever, like, you know, you bring your own like a straw and it had like a design on it. So I couldn't see what was inside. And she always had water in it. So I used to always just like steal sips from her. And I forgot where we were, but there was a margarita in there.
Yeah.
But it was like a strong margarita. And I was like, I don't know.
Lemonade.
I was like 11 or something like that. And I just grabbed it thinking it was water. And the thinking it's water thing.
Well, that's what really throws you off.
That's another one. I literally was like, my mouth is on fire. Like,
no. But yeah, honestly, that's so true though too. If you're thinking you're going to eat pizza and it's the most delicious pie, like cherry pie ever, you're going to be like, ugh, because you're not prepared for it. My brother Henry, when I was probably like 14. I was out at a friend's house or something and I had stashed like a handle of vodka in our room that we shared. And Henry found it and Henry was like, I'm going to take a sip. So he would have been 12. Henry would have been 12 and Henry was like, I'm going to take a sip of this. And he took a sip and I'm not kidding you. I think he told me like a year later. He was like, I took a sip of the handle of vodka. I thought, oh my God, I think my brother Jack put poison in here. And he made himself throw up. He thought he had drinking poison. And he was like, this is it.
This is it.
And he's like, yeah, obviously, you know, we're very similar where it's like, you know what? If it was poison, he wasn't going to go downstairs and tell my mom. He would die with honor. Because you know how people put poison in vodka bottles?
Yes. You know, just in case.
But that's what it tastes like the first time you have, I mean, especially liquor.
Yeah.
Beer, it's
different. More, it's just like, oh, this doesn't taste good.
Beer, it's more like, why are you in what? Because when you're a kid too, you're like, oh, when I'm not drinking water, it's Gatorade or Coke.
Soda. Like a
soda
is a sweet treat. Like that's a treat.
It's liquid candy.
Yeah. You expect all things to be like that.
You're drinking this?
Yeah. Why would you choose that?
I do think that there's something about, this is old man on a porch, me. I'm about to be old man on a porch. The seltzer thing, I think, is affecting society poorly.
You think so?
I think that kids aren't drinking beer. They're not going through this hard.
You think the kids yearn for beer?
I think the kids, I don't think they yearn for it. I think they yearn for easiness. And I think the seltzer is too easy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That is a little too easy. It tastes too good. It's, you know what? It's a little bit like the flavored vape stuff.
It is.
It's the Juuls, where it's like, this is mango.
No. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Because that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
I had to suffer through beer.
Well, I had to suffer through beer and I had to pass out trying to smoke cigarettes. Now, kids are just drinking like LaCroix and hitting like candy vapes. And they're like, we're not the same.
No.
Why do you think I don't have hair? Because I earned it. Every cigarette I smoked, I lost another hair. I've smoked a lot. I've smoked a lot of cigarettes, babe.
Until your bitch wife came around.
I regret 0 of them. I don't regret a single cigarette. Not one.
Well, smoking's back.
Thank God.
I keep saying that. All the cool kids are smoking cigarettes again.
Who are the cool kids?
Like, I feel like all like the young actors and actresses and TikTokers, like they're all out like smoking cigarettes. I was part of the weird niche generation where they were like, do not smoke. Nobody smoked.
God.
Nobody smoked. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe now people.
And now your generation is just bitching about everything.
Yeah, but like I'm in this weird like middle. Like there was like a couple years where it was like the anti-smoking stuff really hit us, and also I think it's more of an East Coast than a West Coast thing because I don't know anyone who smokes.
Oh, it's definitely an East Coast thing.
Like I literally don't know anyone who smokes.
The West Coast, if the weather's so nice, the air's so fresh. Well, the other part of it too is there is nothing more appetizing than a cigarette when it's freezing cold outside.
Really?
It's fire. It warms you. It's wonderful. You can see the smoke come out of your mouth. It's fun.
Yeah. I guess you need cigarettes to get you through living through the East Coast, you know?
Well, that's not, I wouldn't put it that way. I would just say it's more appetizing. It's like, why don't people surf as much on the East Coast? Because it snows every night. The ocean's colder sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I would say, I would describe it like this. I think that, you know how there was like the World War II generation, the greatest generation, and then they had the baby boomers. And there was this sort of resentment where it was like, fuck you, you guys didn't do shit. Some of you went to Korea. Some of you went to Vietnam, but we went through the Great Depression, World War II, some of us World War I. And they're basically like, you guys are soft compared to us.
Yeah.
I think that the difference between the greatest generation and the baby boomers is about the difference between my generation and your generation as far as softness goes. Strictly
Not
because
my generation.
Fine.
Younger.
Gen Z's. Strictly because of seltzers and vapes. I think that alone is equal to World War II and not World War II. I think that's basically the same. Maybe not quite the same number of difference, but percentage wise, I think it's about the same.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're in agreement?
Equal heroism.
Yeah. Equal trauma. Earn the beer.
Earn the beer.
You have to. Yeah. Back to some personal sports guys. So we went to the NFL draft in Wisconsin.
Yes, we did. That was honestly, for someone like me.
Yeah.
That was an experience. For a girl who doesn't know what is going on.
Yeah.
It was quite an experience.
It was fun though, right?
Honestly, I had way more fun than I thought I was going to have.
It's because it's such a spectacle. It's like a music festival.
It really was. There were so many people there. Everyone was wearing fun outfits.
Everyone was wearing really fun outfits.
Girl, all the boys were showing up in all their cute outfits.
They were literally wearing like the cutest outfits. There was one guy who made his like he was like a Chiefs fan and he had like a Super Bowl ring hat and it sounds like not as cool as it is. What we have a picture of it. I have like a bunch of pictures of that guy.
I think I took a bunch of pictures of a bunch of strangers.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
I was just like, I was like, what is this, the Met Gala?
But like they wanted you to take pictures.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if they're like, don't take a picture of this costume I worked really hard on.
Yes.
There was one queen. She was like a Panthers fan.
Yeah. Or Vikings.
No, she was wearing, it was like light blue.
Oh, I thought it was purple.
Maybe there were probably multiple queens, but there was one where she was wearing like 7-foot heels.
Yeah.
And like feathered crown with like one of those, one of those dresses where there's like no leg cover.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like bare leg, just kind of covering the crotch. And she was just walking like taller than everybody. Like, yeah, go Panthers.
Yes.
And it's like, Panthers, really?
It was a good time. So we got to go to Wisconsin for this. Travel Wisconsin brought us out for the draft, which was so awesome. But it was so funny because if I'm being honest, I've been kind of like giggling a little bit about going to Wisconsin.
We were joking.
I've been like, you just were like, why would I go to Wisconsin?
Why would you go to the NFL draft? Why would you go to Wisconsin?
Like I just have been giggling about like, I'm going to Wisconsin. That's a place I never thought I would go in my life.
Yes.
I think the only thing I do know about Wisconsin is the cheese thing.
Yes.
And I guess just like the Packers, like that's all I think is there.
Yeah. And you just learned that the Packers were there. You did not know that 5 months ago.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of giggling like that's a state I never thought about, but
could it have been a better surprise?
I was going to say this was one of the bigger surprises of my life.
Yeah.
Within like a day of being there, I was like, are we moving to Milwaukee?
Okay.
Like this is kind of the cutest place ever.
Yes. And like, let's call it what it is. Okay. So we were there with Travel Wisconsin. There was obviously a part of it where it was like, okay, so they're obviously going to show us the best of what they have and they're going to hide all the cracks.
Yeah.
So when we got there, I was kind of looking for the cracks.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, why are they not showing us? There aren't any.
No.
There isn't like a bad part of the state.
No. And so we spent most of our time in Milwaukee, which again, a place I never thought I would go in my life because sorry, I'm a diva.
Yeah. You're a Cali girl.
I'm an LA diva, whatever.
Yeah.
Like call me a biatch. It's what I am. No,
you're one of those coastal elites.
I just don't know geography very well. There's just so many, and because I'm not into sports, I just don't know cities like that. Like, so Milwaukee just sounds like such a funny place. I would never go.
It's Algonquin for the good land. I said that 5,000 times while we were there.
Yes, you did.
It was a Waynesboro line. Keep going.
But so we stayed in Milwaukee, and then for the draft, obviously we went up to Green Bay.
Yeah.
But Green Bay was a madhouse, so obviously we couldn't stay there because there was hundreds of thousands of people there for the draft.
Green Bay is a city of 100,000 people, I believe, because I remember when we did the segment about the NFC North, one of my favorite facts is that their famous field, Lambeau Field, holds 75,000 people. It can fit 75% of Green Bay inside of it.
That's so
crazy. The entire city.
Yeah.
So it was 100,000 people city, and I think it was 250,000 visitors came.
I think they...
so there weren't a lot of hotel rooms.
Actually, I checked my email today.
Yeah.
It said that 600,000 people went to the NFL draft.
So there weren't hotel rooms really available after this. They announced that it was going to be there, and 4.5 seconds later it was like a Taylor Swift concert where it's like, unless you have Capital One or whatever the fuck, you're not going to get tickets.
Yeah.
So we stayed in Milwaukee.
So we stayed in Milwaukee, which I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to it's just such a whole thing. We have to stay in Milwaukee. Again, what a lovely little
cutest town I've ever been to in my life.
I think we got 6 Milwaukee shirts.
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, when we went to the Miller Brew House tour.
It's where they make Miller beer, the original light beer.
Yeah. But it's just so funny. I think one of my biggest takeaways though was, especially for someone like me. So I am, like I just said, I'm a California girl. I'm an LA girl.
You're a coastal elite.
I come from the areas where people don't talk to each other on the street. People don't look each other in the eye.
No.
People don't want to have small talk, and everyone's just looking out for themselves.
Yes.
That interacting with everyone from the Uber drivers, the front desk at the hotel, every restaurant server, and just people on the street.
Yeah.
It was probably the nicest, genuinely nicest people I've ever met.
Yes.
To the point where because I'm psycho and I don't come from a world where people care about each other.
Yeah.
I just kept being like, what do you want from me? Are you trying to scam me out of something? I was suspicious about how nice everyone was.
So people in the Midwest, but specifically Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because the Midwest is big. I've depends on what you consider the Midwest. I consider Ohio the Midwest. Ohio's great. People aren't that friendly in Ohio. They're nice, but they're not people in Wisconsin are aggressively nice.
But genuinely.
But that's the thing. The counter to that would be people saying okay, but what about Southern hospitality? Southern hospitality is exactly what it says. It's hospitality. They're putting on a face. They've been trained to say, "How are you doing?"
It's a lot of bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
There's a little judgment behind it.
Forced smiles, forced big eyes. I'm in the South, so I'm going to be nice. No, this is when people in the South say, "How you doing?" It's because they've been told to say that.
It's appearance. When
people ask you how you doing in Wisconsin, they want to know.
Yeah.
They never met. They want to. Are you doing okay?
Are you doing good?
And if you say yeah, they're like, okay, my day just got better because you're doing well.
Yeah.
If you say not well, they go, sit down. Why?
Why?
They're so nice.
I know. Everyone was so nice. It was the first time we got there, we went to a fun pasta making class, which was so fun. Because that's not anything we've ever done before. But it was the perfect first activity because we literally were grouped with another family.
Yeah.
And just one other family. And then we had a great, the owner of the place and stuff. She was so great with her husband and stuff like that. And we just were this really nice family the whole time.
They were just the sweetest family in the world.
It was just an introduction to oh yeah, this is what people are like out here.
It was the type of family where it's I was really watching my words. I was like, don't curse, Jeff.
Yeah, don't curse in front of them.
These people are too kind.
They're here for a pasta making class.
They're here for a pasta. It was 3 generations of a family.
Yeah.
They were there for maybe 4.
I think
no,
three.
it was 3. Yeah, 3 generations. Wisconsin born and raised family.
Uh-huh.
Just the sweetest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, they gave us a bunch of recommendations of where to get custard. And but it was just so funny.
We never did get custard, did we?
We did once. But it was, I don't know if
it wasn't one of the, it wasn't one of the
yeah.
They gave us all the names of the custard places. This was night 1.
Yeah.
We were busy so much. I was like, we never went to Leon's.
I know.
But we got custard at other places.
But yeah, no, it just it was just so fun. So we did that. And then we went to the Harley Davidson Museum. That was fun.
Which was really cool.
That was a really cool place. Of course, got some shirts.
Got a Harley shirt.
I got a hat.
Can I say one other thing about the niceness?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a place we probably took, honestly, if I'm being, probably 30 Ubers.
Yeah.
At least in the span of 4 days because we had to keep on going to all these different places. Have you ever met happier Uber drivers?
No. And I wanted to keep chatting with all the Uber drivers.
That was so almost funny. Concerning to me.
Because I'm a biatch. I hate talking to
Same.
I just hate small talk sometimes.
Well, usually Uber drivers are just bitching to you.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable. These people they were just so excited to
We get in an Uber to be like, how great is this city? That's what they would say to us. They'd be like, how about this? They didn't know we were there with the Travel Wisconsin board.
It felt like everyone was working for them to convince us it was great.
People are just happy.
I was so suspicious about how nice everyone was.
It was kind of disarming.
Yeah. So we did the Harley Davidson Museum because Harley Davidson was founded in Milwaukee.
Yep.
So that was fun. We went to the Miller Brew House. We got to see how
also founded in Milwaukee.
We got to see how all the beer is made and packaged. And man, I love a packaging place.
I love a packaging place. The coolest, to me, by far the coolest part, and I feel like you're going to agree with me, is all I wanted to see the whole time was okay, when are you going to show me the machines that are just cranking up beers 5,000 a second? Because they are. They're like, oh yeah, this machine fills 12,000 beers a second. And you're like, I just sat there watching forever, just looking at the beers, being like, wow.
Look at all those beers.
They did have the funniest thing where they showed a video of the we're going to show you in slow motion. But it was clearly a video made 10 years ago because they didn't up the frame rate. So to show slow motion, most things this is nerdy film stuff. Most stuff that you watch is 30 frames per second today. If you put it in half speed, it's just if it's 30 frames per second, it looks choppy.
Yeah.
Because they're just showing half the one frame every 2 seconds or whatever.
So if you know you're going to film in slow motion, you film in 60.
60 or higher.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No.
So they were this is it in slow motion. It was that's the same.
They were
it's just as blurry.
So you could see it. If anything, it was a little blurrier.
It was kind of harder to see. That's not a criticism. That's a whimsy.
That was so funny.
That was so. We went to.
And the flag at the Miller Brew House was at half mast for the Pope.
You and I were crying, laughing. Actually, we were because all the flags are half mast because the Pope died.
R.I.P.
Seeing the Miller flag at half mast is really funny for the Pope.
For the Pope.
Miller honors.
They do.
It was just that was a really funny thing to say. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else we did. We went to the public market. It felt very much like San Francisco before the homeless drug epidemic.
Before what San Francisco is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, all the food we ate was really good. There were, because normally I feel when we travel a lot and I feel like normally I'm always kind of I don't really like this food or everything we ate there was amazing.
Yeah.
The cheese curds were fabulous.
Well, it's the cheese state.
It's literally the cheese state.
It literally is it's the cheese capital of the world. It is literally the cheese capital of the world. They have signs that say that it's officially the cheese capital. So the cheese was really good. But also just their meats and stuff too. It's a farming state.
You had 6 Reubens.
There was a time where I didn't even realize it, but 3 meals in a row, I ordered the Reuben. And I would have ordered it a 4th one, but I think the next one we went to was a pizza place.
I know.
And they didn't serve a Reuben. Yeah. I would have ordered that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did we do? Oh, we went to the which stadium? The baseball
We went to, I know it is Miller Park, but it's now American Family Field, which is an insurance company. But where the Brewers play, beautiful stadium.
I know, it was so cool. So we went there. Obviously, they weren't playing a game the day we went, but we kind of got to see the stadium a little bit, and that was really cool because it's indoors.
Yeah, well, it has to be.
Which makes sense, obviously, because the weather. But I kind of was just why are all stadiums built like that? And I feel like that is kind of probably the future of stadiums is because the roof's retractable, you said, right?
The roof is retractable. We are officially hitting the point where there really aren't going to be any new stadiums going forward that don't at the very least have a retractable roof.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
The idea of sports fans fantasize about remember the snow game or the rain game? Mm-hmm. In hindsight, watching the highlights, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's not fun watching it.
No.
It's just oh yeah, they can't really play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nobody scored because they can't. So yeah. It's the future of stadiums, the retractable roof for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of fun when the sun's out, but also it's like you're in a really nice airport watching baseball. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. And then
Oh, we went to the Bucks game.
Yeah, Bucks game.
We went to a playoff basketball game.
Yeah, so we went to the Bucks game. What game was that? Like game?
It was game 3.
Game 3.
They were down 2-0. It was the only game they ended up winning in the series. I did not think we were going to have that much fun because we're not Bucks fans.
Yeah, I think I might be now.
I kind of root for the Bucks. Like
I had so much fun. So like I've been to a basketball game before. We've been to a basketball game, and it's fun. Basketball is one of the few sports where I could watch because it's a fast, it's back
constant
and forth.
Moving.
I can for the most part figure out what's going on.
You don't need to know. Although we did learn that you don't know what the 3-point line is.
No.
Every now and then you say stuff like that to me, and I'm like, man, are we just skipping way ahead? I thought we were going real slow, but I think we got to start chapter 1 for some of these sports.
Yeah. Most things I know absolutely zero. The only sport I ever played growing up was soccer, so I know soccer.
Yeah.
But
basketball, you can tell if the ball goes in the hoop, it's a good thing.
Yes.
And if it doesn't, it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
Pretty easy.
But so it was a playoff game, and oh my God, I had never had like that much fun, I think, at like an actual sporting game because the whole room was so electric. It was contagious. So exciting. We were up on our feet every 2 seconds.
What was the actual highlight of the game for you though? Because I have a really clear one.
Of the actual game or just being there?
Being there, because you're going to say the same thing I did.
I was going to say at the halftime show.
Well, Pepe.
No, well, Pepe, of course.
Well, she was the halftime show, but you're talking about They
had quite some entertainment during the breaks.
The commercial timeouts, you're saying?
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite was, what did they call them? The Grand Dancers?
That's what I'm talking about too.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't even halftime. There'd be like a TV timeout. They'd be like, okay, for the next 2 minutes, the Grand Dancers, it has to have started with like a Facebook group of like 60 at the youngest to like 85 retirees came out and they were like it's like they were the cheerleader, like the Laker girls.
Yeah, they came out. They had a little dance number.
They like did a full routine.
Yeah, and they were good.
Legit. Yeah,
and then at a later point, they had like a little dance off.
Yeah, which you and I both called was unfair.
Yeah, there was one lady who basically brought out like a flapper type dress, and I was like, you can't bring props.
The prop won it, not her.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, not that she wasn't good, but
no, she was fine. She was fine, but a lot of the other people didn't have props and performed. I thought at least the same.
I thought so too.
So I would have disqualified her, but
yeah.
Besides that, overall good experience.
But it was just so fun, and you know, I got to see the Greek Freak in real life, which I know Giannis from a Nicki Minaj lyric where she says she needs a freak like Giannis. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day she could have a play date with Adonis, Drake's son. You know.
Yeah.
But so I know Giannis via Nicki Minaj lyrics.
Of course.
So it's cool to see him in real life. I said, I know you, girlfriend.
Yeah. And also he literally is a freak where you're like, he doesn't look like any of the other players on the court.
That was like the biggest man I've ever seen. That was crazy.
He's super tall, but he's built like a guy who's like in really good shape at like 6 feet.
Yeah. Cause normally basketball players they're
skinny
athletes,
hell.
but they're skinny because they're so tall.
And they have to run their endurance is by far the most important part.
Yeah.
But no, he has shoulders like an Adonis.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy. He's really cool.
No, he was really cool. So that was fun to see in real life. God, that was just a super fun game.
Playoff basketball, any playoff game in general is just it's a whole nother atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And the guy behind me, I feel like he should have been able to tell that we weren't like huge. I guess I was explaining basketball to you and the other girls we were with a ton. So maybe he was like, oh, he must know the team. But I wasn't even explaining team. I was just like, that's the 3-point line. I was like doing like very basketball 101 stuff. But I think he high-fived me so hard so many times that by the end I was like, yeah, fucking bring it in, dude.
Yeah.
Bucks in 5. Bucks in 5.
Fear the deer.
Fear the deer.
Yeah, no, so that was super fun. But yeah, so overall, but like obviously the main event that we went for was the NFL draft, which was just the coolest experience. There was just so many people there. We spent, that was like a 19-hour day, like just full of stuff that we did. We started the day off, like we kind of went to like a little tailgate before.
Yeah.
Who is the player? Who is the It's so funny with all the athletes. I'm like, who is the player?
Brian Bulaga.
Yes. He kind of did like a little Q&A at like this tailgate thing that we went to. So that was cool. And then, we just...
we basically, the draft, it was really fun watching people and seeing how like, you know what? Of all the sports fans you could have married, you kind of got a little lucky. Yeah. You know, like I could be way worse.
You could be way worse.
I could be, there were a lot of guys there who, there were clearly some guys who went with a group of friends and they're all married and they're like, honey, we got to go. The Titans had the first pick and they made the boys trip or whatever. And then there were a lot of guys who didn't have to ask their wives because they didn't have wives.
Yeah.
And those guys, I think, were what really brought the energy to me.
Yes.
And you know how I could tell who those guys were? They all had really long hair.
Yeah.
Not well kept.
No.
But like, yeah, man, can't tie me down. It's like someone should probably tie you down, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
you might need to be tied down, actually.
You might need to be tied down. I think you're here solo.
We went to, was it the Hall of Fame Museum?
We went to the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, which they're probably the most historic, not probably, they're the most historic NFL franchise. The reason why Green Bay has a football team, by far the smallest market, is because they were so good so early and have always been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the city of Green Bay would not have all the other professional sports teams are like Dallas, New York, LA.
Yeah.
Green Bay is not in that category. It's just such a contagious vibe and atmosphere that they're really the godfather of the league. And so it was like going to, I don't know, it was going to Graceland. It was like going to, this is the mecca of football.
Yeah.
And you got to see it.
I was going to say, because even I had a fun time looking around, seeing all, all the old trophies and just stuff. I don't know. It was just a really cool thing. And then the draft itself was just, a whole day. And we got to stand in the coolest area where it was we were kind of in front of the crowd. Sorry. But
we were in the perfect area. We weren't in the actual draft. When you're watching if you're watching the draft, which I know all of our audience does, our audience of diehard sports fans watches the draft, or maybe your significant other does, and you kind of sit there and you want to know more about what it's about. But what you're seeing, where all the people are seeing, we weren't there. We were in the crowd, but we were just ahead of the masses.
Yeah.
In a very secured, fenced off thing.
Yeah. The crowd was behind a gate right behind us.
Yes. They were watching us watching the draft.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was fun because I was just being such a mom, because we were in that area. I kept being give me your phone. Let me take a picture of you on the very front. All the guys in the front. I was like, you guys need a picture of you by the fence.
Well, they really do. And I'll tell you why, because to get that spot, I think they were saying that those guys got there at 6 a.m.
Yeah, no, they were there all day. If you want that spot, I'm shocked they didn't have to get there earlier, honestly.
Yeah. It's waiting for Taylor Swift concert tickets.
Yeah.
That's my second Taylor Swift concert ticket reference to it.
Yeah.
But
for
real.
It was just so cool. We got a couple of Hit Me Sisters yelled from the crowd to us. That was fun.
Baby.
But it was really cool. And it was really fun to be okay, you see the clock, you see they're going to pick the thing. I will say, but one thing I'm a little unsure of is I don't know if they actually play the little sound in real life or if everyone was just way too loud and we couldn't hear it. Because I didn't hear the little da-da-dung, dong, dong thing that they do.
Yeah, ding, 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 the pick is in.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for that little sound, and I don't think I could hear it in person.
Man, okay, so the draft too was just so. Oh fuck! I'm debating whether or not going through because I could go pick by pick.
I know. I was gonna say this is going to be a very sports heavy.
This is gonna be a sports episode
because
probably.
We've got a lot to say this week.
And it's not even just the draft. There's other sports juice.
Yeah.
There's just something about being there, and when they announce the players, because I've always watched it on TV and been like, oh no, or yeah. Mm-hmm. To hear a roar from every team.
Yeah.
Every team has a huge base that's they're representing essentially. And it's okay, the Titans pick Cam Ward. The roar was nuts.
What do you think was louder? The crowd when Green Bay had their pick?
Yeah.
Or when I took you to your first Harry Styles concert and you got to hear a venue of just women screaming for the first time.
You know what's crazy? So when Green Bay picked, because it was in Green Bay, so it was, I'd say 50% Packers fans probably.
I'd say more, but yeah.
Yeah, because of course it is. It's their home. It better be. When they picked, the ground shook. And we weren't in front of the...
we moved.
We were probably half a mile away at that point, and it was an earthquake went off just when they announced that they were going to pick. But if you've never been to a Harry Styles concert or a One Direction concert, a concert where their fan base is, let's be real, teenage girls.
Or just girls.
Girls.
Like just
younger girls though.
Yeah.
My mom and her friends going to see Bruno Mars, it's not the same.
Yeah. That's a mixed crowd, you know?
That's mixed. A place, once the gender ratio is 90% and above, the high-pitched roar, like it's a very specific, it's like have you ever had a concussion?
No.
When you get a concussion, when they say you get your bell rung, the reason why they say that is because you hear like that. It's like that. You feel
the sound.
Yeah, your hair kind of stands up.
There's something with when women.
It's insane.
When women yell like that,
it's terrifying.
It's like primal. Like it's like you feel the volume in the air. Like you could tangibly touch the sound.
Like
because I've been to like 8 One Direction concerts, so I've experienced that several times, and I like didn't think about like telling you how loud that was going to be when I first took you.
I the first time I was like,
which by the way, Harry Styles is a Packers fan.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. It's like in the horror movies when they open like the gates of hell and you're like, and they close it and it stops. It's that.
Yeah.
So I actually would say that was a more intense sound. I think on the Richter scale, the Packers probably beat it.
I think so too, because there was a real ground vibration.
It definitely, the seismometers or whatever those things, those went off. Mm-hmm. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. And you're a Giants fan, so you got to see, because they picked what, 3rd?
They picked 3rd. We got Abdul Carter, great pick, smart pick. And then we'll get into sports gossip in a second, but when later in the draft, the Giants traded back up into the first round, so they got another first round pick. And I, along with I think every Giants fan, was just praying we wouldn't pick Shadour Sanders.
Yeah.
Just praying we wouldn't pick him. And I think I didn't reach quite the Green Bay noise level. But when they said Jackson Dart instead of Shadour Sanders, I made a sound that was very primal as well.
Yeah, so that was quite loud.
I threw my hat.
Yeah.
I threw my hat like a graduate.
Yeah.
Proud of their work. That's how I felt. I felt like I just graduated from a very prestigious school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but going to the draft was really honestly amazing. Like just the fact like someone like me who obviously knows zero.
We kept on laughing that you're at the NFL draft.
I know, but it was like I had such a good time, and like it was so fun talking to like all the different groups of fans where it was like, where are you from? Who are you hoping to get?
Yes.
Like just hearing everyone, like it was very fascinating for me.
I asked every fan base, who do you guys want to get? And it was really funny for every fan base that wasn't picking like the top 8.
Yeah. Because
they have no idea who's going to be taken ahead of them. So they would say a player and be like, okay, I mean, the guy's going 4th, but sure. Yeah. I hope I get Cam Ward too. But anyway.
But yeah, no, this overall, the whole trip was super fun. Draft was insane. I'm so happy we got to go. Like that was, I don't know. The fact that I had a good time.
The fact that you had a good time in Wisconsin at the NFL draft. A place I would not have picked for a vacation for us.
But now I'm like, when can we go back?
Yeah, now I'm like, they should hold it every year in Wisconsin. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Travel Wisconsin, bring us back.
I know. If you can compare Wisconsin to anything, what would you compare it to?
I would compare Wisconsin to, I would say, I wouldn't quite say it. Wisconsin isn't the, if we're doing teen movie, Wisconsin isn't the ugly girl with glasses that they take the glasses off, because Wisconsin doesn't have that connotation to me in general. It's not like a South Dakota kind of has that where you're like, ew, South Dakota. And then maybe South Dakota is amazing. I don't know. I can tell you right now, it's no Wisconsin. It's very Devil Wears Prada and Hathaway to me.
Okay.
Where it's like, we know Wisconsin. We know Wisconsin has its merits. I mean, cheese alone.
Yeah.
I did not realize just how beautiful and amazing it is until I got there.
Yeah. It's very, she wasn't fashionable in our mind, but you know what? Turns out she could be a pretty fashionable gal.
Yeah, she can. Can I say really quick about Devil Wears Prada? Her like switch is like invisible to me. I have no idea. I don't see the difference between her when she comes in for her first day of work, her outfit, and her last day. I literally see there's no difference. You could show me 2 pictures and be like, which is the start of the movie, which is the end? I would not be able to pick it.
I could.
I know you could. To me, I'm like, it's the same clothes.
That's how Wisconsin was for me. I was kind of like, okay, maybe a little bit more of an unstylish girl, but and then showed up, I was like, okay, girl, she's going to be running Vogue. Like
for real.
Yeah.
Like part of me is like, maybe we should be looking towards Wisconsin for the new trends.
Yeah.
Why are we keep on looking at New York? How far have they gotten us?
Yeah, that's true.
Because right now kids are, vaping and drinking seltzers. Is that good?
Is that good?
I'll tell you what they do in Wisconsin. drink beer and smoke cigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Americans. No, Wisconsin was so cool.
No, that was so fun. Yeah. Thank you to Travel Wisconsin for bringing us because that was bomb.
Okay. Are you ready for sports gossip?
Hit me, sister.
So we just had the NFL draft last week. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this was the juiciest NFL draft in history.
Ooh, spell.
Okay. So basically it's all around this one player, Shadour Sanders.
Okay.
Basically, so it stems from the fact that like everybody thought he was going to be a first round pick, like maybe even a top 10 pick, and he ended up falling to the 5th round. So that in and of itself is juicy. But what's really juicy is why he fell to the 5th round.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so Shadour Sanders is a quarterback. He came from the Colorado.
Okay.
The reason he fell to the 1st round is super simple. He's actually not that good.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but what everybody agrees on is that he's better than a 5th round quarterback. So why did he fall all the way to the 5th? Basically, I would describe it like this. This is the simplest way to put it. Shadour Sanders and DJ Khaled have like the exact same vibe. Okay. Like I'm talking like we the best.
Like all I do is win, win, win.
Exactly. Except unlike DJ Khaled, Shadour doesn't always win.
Oh.
He's a good quarterback, but he's not like an undeniable generational talent quarterback, you know, that you're expecting. So, but he has that same level of cockiness as like a DJ Khaled. And that really turned off the NFL, like all the NFL execs, including, it was also like super disrespectful to the other like NFL draftees. Like he's just all about himself.
He's in diva mode.
He's a huge diva, and that's kind of undeniable, okay? Like, fight me in the comments. He's a huge diva, okay? So, like, he skipped the NFL Combine, which we talked about last week, or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He skipped the NFL Combine. He made an announcement that he basically said, like, I will refuse to play for certain NFL teams. And he told those teams, like, do not draft me. I won't play for you.
Oh my God.
Okay. And in at least one interview with one of the teams he was willing to play for, he, in the middle of the meeting, took a FaceTime call. Okay.
I mean, sometimes when your bestie calls you, you just have to answer.
I mean, that's true. We don't know the backstory of the FaceTime call. Maybe this was like super important or whatever. But anyway.
That's insane.
He was not conducting himself like a, you know, NFL draft prospect. He was conducting himself like he was the greatest ever. So where did he get this attitude from? It's because of his daddy.
Daddy.
Shadour Sanders' father is Deion Sanders, okay? Who is one of the greatest football players, greatest athletes of all time. He played both professional football and professional baseball at the same time. He's the only athlete to ever hit a home run and score a touchdown in the same week. He's one of the greatest athletes of all time. He's also one of the most arrogant, flashy athletes of all time. He gave himself the nickname Primetime. For like a decade, he only referred to himself in the 3rd person. And the thing is,
honestly,
yeah,
that's a girl boss, and I'm here for it.
No, he's an absolute girl boss. And the reason why everybody's so okay with that is because Deion Sanders is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah, you're allowed to be cocky, or you're allowed to be confident when
Mariah Carey's allowed to be a diva.
Yeah.
Okay? He's Mariah Carey.
You have to earn it.
You have to earn it, okay? So Shadour isn't Mariah Carey. He's not Deion Sanders. He's Deion Sanders' son. And Deion Sanders is like the definition of a stage mom when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
Like probably the #1 stage mom in the history of sports.
Okay.
He coached Shadour in high school. He coached Shadour at Jacksonville State. And then when he took a job at Colorado, he brought Shadour with him. So, I mean, like that alone, you can start asking the question of like, okay, like, was Shadour always the best quarterback on the team, or was daddy his coach?
Yeah, is he just being like a real big Kris Jenner in his life?
Deion Sanders is absolutely the Kris Jenner of football. Okay?
Okay.
Except like instead of Shadour being Kim, better than a Rob.
It's like a Courtney.
Like, instead of Shadour being like a Kim, he's like a Courtney.
Okay.
Okay? Where it's like, Courtney's not a 1st round pick.
No.
You know?
But not a last round pick.
No. I mean, so here's the thing too. It's like, okay, so Shadour is a Nepo baby, which is not a thing in sports, because in sports, obviously, if you can't hit a baseball, you're not going to play. It doesn't matter who your daddy is.
Yeah.
But Shadour has only ever been coached by his dad.
Huh.
And again, it's like, so we don't really know, like, it's such a specific circumstance. No other athlete that I can ever remember has ever had that, like, yeah, through like youth to college, only ever been coached by one person, his father.
Yeah. He probably saves a lot of money on sunscreen living in that shadow.
Oh, that's really good. Yep. That's really good.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
I love giving out digs. Like I know who these people are.
Who Shadour Sanders is. But so that's why he fell. He's not that good, and he's such a problem. I mean, the other thing, he's such a diva. I mean, the other thing too is like, I'd say, I don't know if I'd say he's like half football player, half influencer, but like he's about as influencery as you can get as like an athlete. Mm-hmm. So whatever team drafts him, they also know like, hey, this circus is also going to come to town.
Yeah.
And God forbid the starting quarterback has like a bad game. The media is just going to be all over them being like, well, Shadour should probably play because Shadour is the legend. Shadour ends his brand is legendary, but he hasn't done anything legendary. Like it's one thing, like we love confident athletes.
Of course. Confidence is key.
Confidence is key. There's really only one position in all of sports where confidence is seen as like kind of a negative, or like unearned arrogance is kind of negative, and that's the quarterback of the team. The quarterback in football is the most important position in any sport, and it's not even close.
Okay.
Like without a quarterback, the team can't move the ball. Mm-hmm. Every other sport, like you can be missing a certain position and you're kind of fine. A quarterback is so important that like to be such a head case, such an arrogant person, someone who blames all, like Shadour was always like blaming his teammates for everything that he made a mistake about. Like it's just
Shadour, there's no I in team.
He clearly didn't learn that. But there is an I in prime time. Like it is fair. Like it's fair. Like the whole thing is very understandable how he got this way. It's just such a bummer. It didn't really work out super great because Deion Sanders is the greatest athlete, one of the greatest athletes ever. Like the fact is, like Shadour Sanders isn't that good of an athlete, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that fast.
Yeah.
And Deion Sanders is like, he is speed.
Yeah.
He is speed.
Speed, I am speed.
So you're probably thinking like, okay, so then why did everybody think that he was going to be like a first round pick?
Yeah.
For the same reason that everyone thought that Blake Lively was going to win an Oscar for It Ends With Us. PR, PR, PR.
Or her team thought.
Or her team.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times ever since Shadour has been like a player in the national spotlight, Deion Sanders has done nothing but basically say, my son will be the number one pick in the NFL draft. He'll be a top 5 pick. He'll be a first rounder. They've said it so many times where like, you know, when somebody says something so many times that eventually you're just kind of like, okay, you believe it.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it, you just start to believe it. Uh-huh. That's literally what happened to every single person except for the people who work in the NFL.
Yeah.
They weren't tricked. They're like, no, we're looking at him. He's not a first round draft pick.
Uh-huh.
So that's why that happened. I mean, he and Blake Lively are super similar also in a lot of ways.
I was going to say, it sounds like he really was going with the Blake Lively attitude. He thought he deserved something the way she thought that she could take over a movie.
And why did they think that?
Because
of Daddy.
Because Ryan Reynolds kept saying, you should take it.
Ryan Reynolds said you should take it. Ryan Reynolds, after Deadpool, after the Mint Mobile bullshit, he's like a titan in the industry. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders is a titan in sports.
Yeah.
They're being told, no, do this, as if Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds, as if Shadour is Deion. They're not. You're not your daddy.
They're just not.
You're not your daddy.
You're not your daddy.
I know. So it's right now people are being like really nice to Shadour. I actually think they're being a little bit too nice. If you watch like interview clips and stuff just from like a week ago, he's a problem. He is so like just the idea that you would tell, he told a bunch of teams, don't pick me, I won't play for you.
That's crazy.
By like the second day of the draft, he thought he was gonna be a first round pick. Mm-hmm. Not only was he not picked in the second round, he wasn't picked on the second day of the draft. He was picked on the last day of the draft.
That's crazy.
It's like really embarrassing.
Because normally I'm pretty anti the sentiment of like, I hate when people say that people need to be humbled. I'm really not a big fan.
This is a case where he does.
I was like, because like I hate that sentiment because I think like successful people don't like being a humble person versus being humbled. I think are different. Like you should of course be humbled, but it's like I hate the sentiment of like we need to put them down and embarrass them.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, sometimes it's like there's all these other prospects that are obviously like super grateful and glad to be there, and they're talented and they're hardworking, and it's like he's kind of just coming with the media circus.
He's coming with the media. I mean, it's kind of like so like Colin Kaepernick, like he had the whole thing where it was like he would he knelt during the anthem. Knelt is such a weird word.
Knelt is a weird word,
because I want to say kneeled, but it's not. It's knelt.
I probably would have said kneeled.
He kneeled. I bet you both are allowed. I bet you both are acceptable according to the Oxford English Dictionary. Or some shit.
He knelt during the national anthem.
He knelt during the national anthem, and then he got cut from the team the next year. No team signed him, and everybody's like, "Why?" He's like good enough to be. A lot of people said he was good enough to be a starting quarterback. He wasn't. Let's be honest, he wasn't. He wasn't even a starting quarterback when he was kneeling. So no, but he was definitely good enough to be a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Every team was like, "Why would we want a circus?" We're trying to win football games. After the game when we win, we want to talk about what we did right. After the game when we lost, we want to get on the bus and go home. We don't want people to be like, "So what do you think about the kneeling thing?" Like, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
And that's something where it's like, you have to validate that thought. Like, you have to validate their feelings of being like, I don't want all the cameras on us constantly for things that don't have to do with football.
Yeah. And I almost feel like it's maybe not the opposite, but like kind of different with basketball.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you kind of want the players to be, or at least now, like you
outspoken.
You want the superstars. You want the like, there are stars on the team. You want people, you want the
flashiness.
Yeah, you want the Dennis Rodmans. Like, you want crazy stuff like that, because you need the attitude players, because players are so much more individual when it comes to basketball, I feel like. But like with football, I think it's way more of a, this is a team.
And in fact, this will actually break down really simply too. Because like, here's the thing, there are really like kind of flashy diva football players. One thing that you'll notice though is they all play the same positions. Wide receivers and cornerbacks, those are the guys who guard the wide receivers, they're like the defensive version of the wide receivers, are the flashy, loud talking, dancing players. Yeah. They're the players that are constantly talking shit. That's the position where you're allowed to. Because those positions are very much on their own. They run a route, they either catch the ball or they don't. They don't, like, yes, sometimes like wide receivers will block during a play, but they're not nearly as important on plays that aren't going directly to them. It's either to them or it's not, and they're not in the play. The other players on the team, including running backs, which are also get the ball, you very rarely find like a very loud spoken running back, because they're relying on the offensive line to block for them. If they're assholes, if they're trying to make it all about themselves, maybe it's just subconscious. Maybe the O-line doesn't block quite as hard. Like, you got to be a real team player the closer you get to the where the quarterback snaps the ball. Yeah. And so if you're the quarterback, you can't be, it's all me.
No.
And players that they get humbled really quickly in the NFL, even if they get taken. The other thing I'll say though too is, like, a lot of people have been saying like, well, what is this double standard? Like, there are tons of like other cocky NFL players or cocky athletes or something like that. Every player that they list is a generational talent. Yeah. Every player that they list was undeniably going to go in the first round. Shadour was not. Yeah. That's the difference. Why would a team risk that? If Shadour was the best quarterback in the draft, he would have gone number 1 overall. Nobody would have talked about it. Yeah. But he wasn't. He was not very good. He's an NFL quarterback. Yeah. I don't want to sound like I'm better than him. I'm not. But he's not, like, they say like last year, he basically would have been a 3rd round pick last year, even if he was the most humble, perfect quarterback you could ever design in a lab.
I know. Part of me feels like bad for him in the sense that I'm sure growing up with a father that's not his fault, talented, and literally calls himself primetime and talks in the third person, I'm sure he then raised his son to be like, you should like love yourself this much and be this crazy confident, and like, but the difference was his dad had it, like the it factor. And so when you raise someone without the talent, it's the person asking for a raise when it's like, dude, you haven't shown up for work in the past week. Like and so it's like, I'm sure part of it really, like, he got screwed that way, where it's like, you were brought up in a household where you were taught to act like that.
Like, it's hard to describe when I'm saying like he's one of the greatest. It's hard to describe just how amazing Deion Sanders was. Like, I never really got to see him play because he played before my time of watching football. But when people talk about who's the greatest football player ever, right now everybody says Tom Brady. Like, quarterback in general will always kind of get the nods. But when you talk about like who's really the greatest football player ever, Deion Sanders is one of the guys in the conversation. Yeah. That's such an elite level that, I mean, it's, what is the, like, he could have killed a guy and everybody would have been like, love prime time. Like, he was that level. Good. he was that permanently forgivable level of insanely amazing. He also is a really great guy. Like he's cocky, but he's also friendly.
Yeah.
You know, because and that comes with like, you know, he earned it.
Yeah.
You know, Shadour didn't earn it. He grew up really with I actually kind of have a personal connection to them.
You do?
Yeah. Should I say it and then later we can decide?
Sure.
Okay. So I went to college with Deion Sanders Jr.
So would that be
the first son?
Shadour's older brother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The first son. And I remember, I was like, when should I bust this out if I should? I went to school with him. All in all, super nice guy. He played in the football team. He was not good enough to be a college athlete.
Okay.
Period. He was on the team because he was Deion Sanders' son, Deion Sanders Jr. He never started. He played like a few years. I'm not really sure. It's not like he and I ever had each other's phone numbers or anything like that. But like we would see each other at parties and whatnot. And he dated a girl I was somewhat friends with. Mm-hmm. His whole thing was he was constantly posting on Instagram. He would always have the hashtag well off forever. And I just remember being like, that is so like offensive. Like it was the way he would do it was basically, it was always like, you know, having money or diamonds or something. It's like, because they weren't born rich, they were born well off that. But it's like, it's this sort of like being born on third base and acting like you hit a triple. Uh-huh. And the thing was, Deion Sanders Jr. was a lot more grounded than Shadour is. Okay. So that's the level I'm talking about of like, Shadour has never wanted for anything. In fact, he's been given everything he could ever ask for ever. Yeah. It's fair for NFL teams to wonder, okay, this kid who has literally never had a coach who isn't his dad. Mm-hmm. And
because that's a big part of it, I think, too, is like, how is he going to be with literally any other coach?
I mean, we literally do not know.
Would Deion Sanders literally have been like hired? Like,
no, well, so that was a whole other storyline.
Is that part of it?
So the Cowboys, Deion was at his best. Like the peak of his career was when he was with the Cowboys. Okay. The Cowboys fired their coach in the offseason. And one of the real thoughts where I would have given it like a 50-50 chance was that the Cowboys were going to draft Shadour and hire Deion to be their head coach. In which case, Shadour would have never had a coach who wasn't his dad. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
That would have been insane.
That literally doesn't happen in sports. That literally does not happen.
Yeah, that's true Nepo baby right there.
It's real Nepo baby.
So where did he end up getting drafted?
By the Browns. And it was saucy because it was very clear he wasn't drafted by the Browns because the Browns wanted him. He was drafted because Jimmy Haslam, their owner, the billionaire class of owners are obviously a very tight-knit community. Yes. And Deion Sanders is friends with the billionaires. Yeah. Because he's not a billionaire, but he's worth a lot of money. Yeah. And he golfs with them and he hangs with them. He's at that elite level. And it was very clear that the Browns general manager and coach were called and said, pick Shadour Sanders, fuck you, pick him. Yeah. And so you could even just tell when they announced the pick, like the owner, or the coach and the GM were just zero smiles. Like, yeah, they made us do this.
Because I was going to say, they're already kind of a mess over there, right?
They're the epitome of a mess. Okay. They are, if you looked up mess in the dictionary, the Cleveland Browns logo would just be there. The Browns are they have 5 quarterbacks. A team can only fields 3 at the most. Yeah. They have 5 quarterbacks. They drafted a rookie quarterback ahead of Shadour. And everybody's like, okay, so clearly, like, as soon as they did, they're like, well, he's not going to be a Brown because that's insanity. You don't draft 2 rookie quarterbacks, especially when you're already paying one quarterback $1 gajillion. You have another quarterback, Joe Flacco, who's a veteran. He'll be the starter. And then you have a third quarterback, Kenny Pickett, who will be the backup. They're being paid. Their other 3 quarterbacks are being paid way too much money. Yeah. To cut them. Yeah. So, but Shadour's not going to get cut.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Girl, it is drama, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean,
I was going to say, isn't there more drama with him?
Yeah. Okay. So
can we get into that?
So, and I have like a really controversial opinion on this. Okay. The reason why it's controversial is because I haven't heard anybody say it. So over the weekend too, basically every year in the NFL draft, players, when waiting to be drafted, they're literally sitting there with their families with a phone. Yeah. They're going to get called by an NFL team, and the NFL team's going to say like, hey, do you want to be a Chicago Bear? And they're like, yeah, I do. And it's really sweet. So they're just sitting there with their phone. If you have their phone number and you call them from an unknown phone number, you can say, hey, this is Chicago Bears. It's such an obvious phone prank.
Yeah.
That like, if you were saying like, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, you'd be wrong because it happens every year, dozens of times. Every player gets a prank call. There's too many fuckheads out there
for this not to happen.
There's too many fuckheads out there where it's like, hey, you know, Cody has this guy's number.
Yeah, we should call him.
Yeah. I'm drunk. Let's call him.
Yeah.
Like it happens every year. This year it was interesting because already people were starting to feel kind of bad for Shadour because of course they are.
Because there was a big media circus around it and now he's not getting picked. It's that.
Yes.
Tensions are high.
And Shadour got a prank call. And which would have been fine. Shadour was like, yeah, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. It would have been fine except for the fact that, one, the prank caller recorded it.
Oh, I didn't know that it was recorded.
It was recorded and it was posted. I don't know if it was on TikTok or on Twitter or whatever, but they literally recorded themselves prank calling, which, you know, okay, dumb idea to begin with.
Yeah.
You're literally it's not a crime, but
yeah,
you're videotaping you being a jerk. And they posted it. Everybody was like, oh, these guys were the ones who did it. And then somebody noticed, they're like, you know what? That kid looks a lot like Jeff Ulbrich, the now defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons' son, Jax Ulbrich. And it took about 3 hours before they're like, it's Jeff Ulbrich's son. So that's where it got really juicy.
Yeah.
That's where it got really kind of steamy because it's like, hey, basically someone associated with the Atlanta Falcons prank called a NFL player.
Yeah.
And now they just announced the punishment, which is $250,000 fine for the Atlanta Falcons.
$250,000.
$250,000 and $100,000 fine for Jeff Ulbrich, which just saying that, like, that is so unfair of the Atlanta Falcons. $250,000 is
that's nothing. That's whatever.
Sneeze at that. Jeff Ulbrich isn't making like, I'd be shocked if he makes $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Now he probably makes maybe a little bit more, but I don't know. That's real fucking money.
That's a lot of money.
That's real money. So they were fined because basically his son got Shadour's phone number by looking at his dad's iPad, where his dad had obviously all the draftees' phone numbers in case he had to call them.
Because he has all their information. He might have to make a call.
So the son like copied it down months ago. And then during the draft called him. So they were finding them for not protecting the phone number of a player.
The information.
My hot take is every fucking analyst right now is like jumping down this kid's throat, acting like that he like murdered puppies.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was a stupid prank. It was a dumb idea. The kid is going to get roasted for the rest of his life for this. He for sure has death threats. You're finding his father who had nothing to do with this. Like, what the fuck?
I like as much as it sucks, because honestly, I'm such a I hate pranks.
So do I.
I like pranks are rarely funny anymore. People take it too far. The person you're pranking has to be laughing at what you're doing. Pranks go too far. I agree. Pranks suck. And obviously that's the thing though. It's happening to literally every other player.
Why aren't they being investigated?
And it's almost like they're almost trying to refocus Shadour as like now he's a victim.
He's
even
a victim
though
he
had this big ego and was and now they're trying to, the media's trying to be like, well, now he's a victim. And it's like, he's even said, if anything, it's like, this is more embarrassing for him. The more that they try to like, be like, oh, I feel so bad for him. He probably wants it to move on.
He wants to move on really quickly.
Bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. All of the conversations around it has been like almost as if like he called knowing that he wasn't actually going to be drafted or something like that.
Yeah.
They're acting like he stole money from him, or like it's the worst thing. It sucks. That's a jerk move. Don't do it. But yeah, you're right. These analysts are acting like he literally committed like a crime, a violent crime.
Like a violent crime. They're literally saying like Stephen A. Smith the other day was like, he basically said like, I'm about to dox this kid. He's 21 years old, which I know is an adult.
Yeah.
But just like some of the stuff that NFL players do is so heinous and so really criminal.
Yes.
And they don't get fines a lot of the time.
And they don't get reactions like this.
He's not even associated with the league. His dad is.
Yeah.
Like what I feel really bad for is his dad. Like his dad's like, fuck my kid.
Yeah.
And if you're like, well, his dad should have raced him better. Fucking Deion should have raced Shadour better.
Yeah.
What are we fucking talking about here? Are you serious? The reason why Shadour went to the 5th round is because Deion raised him to be, and Deion Sanders is a fucking man. And Shadour seems like, I don't know, it's bad circumstance where it's like, we're telling your kid that he was you. He's not you.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, I don't want to be in the same room as him because he's a douche and he'll take a FaceTime call in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah.
Like, that's such spoiled rich kid behavior.
Yeah.
He's the definition of a spoiled rich kid. Meanwhile, this kid, like, how many people have 21-year-old sons who do something fucking stupid? I would way rather my son do something like that than the other stupid shit they could do.
Yeah.
So this really isn't that. If the media was saying nothing, I'd be saying the opposite. Yeah. I'd be like, what a dick.
Honestly, it's like the bigger victims are all of these new NFL draft picks who are not getting the airtime that they deserve. And they're all of the like, hey, all these kids are like huge athletes and like they're doing the biggest thing ever. And this is the Shadour show.
The number one pick in the draft was a quarterback named Cam Ward. He was and I know this doesn't mean a ton to you. He was a 0-star recruit. So they rank recruits 0 to 5 stars. Uh-huh. He had one Division I football offer from a school called Incarnate Word, a school that I had never heard of until they said that sentence to me.
Yeah.
D1? What?
Yeah.
He went there. He transferred like a couple of times, and then he went to Miami. Basically, he is the definition of rags to riches.
Yeah.
Whereas Shadour is riches to rags.
Mm-hmm.
So it's. I mean, and the shot of him getting the phone call and he's crying and it kills you.
Like there's so many good draft, like every year though, there's so many great draft stories. And the fact that I know that because it's like, I obviously get zero sports feed.
Yeah.
But I always get a lot, like the highlights of the draft picks because those are the greatest videos. You know, you see a lot of the moms and girlfriends kind of fighting over their son/boyfriend every year, which always
oh my God, those are the best.
Because I'm always like, I'm so uncomfortable for everyone, and everyone always gives the girlfriends a hard time as if the guy isn't dating her and choosing. They're like, well, she just got to check. It's like, she's fucking supporting him, you weirdo. Their moms want to sleep with them. But that's a whole other
That's a whole other thing.
I swear, half the time I'm like, dude, that mom wants to marry her son. It's so weird.
Was it Russell Wilson? It's the famous one where it was a girl he was dating who I think he broke up like 4 weeks later, but she celebrates like I'm rich.
Yeah. But you get some.
But for the most part, athletes marry the girlfriend that's in the
as they should.
Or for the most part, they're already married.
Yeah.
And have a kid.
Yeah.
In college, which is so funny.
Yeah, because a few of the good ones I saw this year were a guy who literally got drafted, then turned around and proposed to his girlfriend.
I actually don't love that.
I like it.
The only reason I don't love it, similar thing happened when the Astros won the World Series. The second that they won, Carlos Correa, who was on the Astros at the time, he got engaged. And I was like, dude, don't double up the joys of your life.
I guess so. But then it's like, let's just make this the best. What I don't like is when someone proposes on someone else's big day. Like,
of course not.
But like if I always see all the time, guys will propose to their girlfriends at like their college graduation.
That's absurd.
And I don't like that because I'm like, okay, now you're taking away from her day. But if it's a good thing happening to them and they're like, I also want to do this.
Yeah.
That's a choice for them, I think. So I like that way's fine for me.
I would describe it like this. If I know that I'm about to have the best steak of all time, and then I also have the option to have the best milkshake of all time, I'm gonna have the best milkshake tomorrow. I want to enjoy this. I don't want it to be too much. You know what I mean? I want to enjoy the hell out of one thing and then enjoy the hell out of the next thing.
Yeah.
When you combine them and they merge, it becomes a weird blend where it's like, maybe it no matter what, it is the best day of your life. But you could have two of the best days of your life.
That is true.
That are both like amazing. That's why whenever they propose, I'm always like, bro, spread them out. Like, you don't have to combine.
As long as it's on their terms, though, that's where I'm like, it's fine. Because I'm like, that's a choice. They're like, why not make this the best day ever?
Yeah.
Like, all the good news happened on this one day.
Yeah.
I just don't like it when it's the other way around, where it's like you're taking this from someone.
No.
But I don't know. So I thought that was sweet. Yeah. I'm trying to think of which other.
I mean, there were ones that will make you cry because they're so sweet. Like there was one where it was basically a Michigan cornerback who would have been the number one taken cornerback a year ago, but he got hurt. And so he didn't know if he was going to get drafted because when you're a cornerback, your athleticism, you're playing Deion Sanders' position, your athleticism is your life.
Yeah.
And getting hurt, you don't know if he'll be as athletic anymore. And I think it was it the Bears? It was one team called him, I think it was the Bears, and he just started sobbing and saying, "Thank you for believing me." Aww. I have to stop talking about it. I'm going to cry. It was like it's the sweetest. I would go as far as this. It's the sweetest draft video I've ever seen in my entire life. Nothing even comes close. It is like a punch to the gut.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I got to watch it again after and make myself really cry. My eyes are watering up if you're watching the video.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wait, I totally forgot about my favorite part about the draft.
What?
How long the fucking walkway was.
Girl.
It took each of the athletes like 10 minutes to walk from when they were sitting to the stage. That was literally like, oh my, that was the scene from Parks and Rec, or it's the, where they're in the ice skating rink and there's not enough carpet.
On your feet.
Yeah. And it takes them forever to get to the podium. That's what it felt like, where it was like, and they did it. And it's like the applause is going on for a really long time.
But even more to me, like whoever designed the hallways to get from the staging area to the stage, I felt like they feel like Gary in that one scene in Veep when he gives her the squeaky shoes and she has to walk.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Where the guy saw the Cam Ward walking and was like, fuck my life. Oh my God. It's way too long. And just knowing that like the production team is looking at him like, is it 10 minutes between pick and celebration? Yes. They walked, there's like 7 curves in the hallway.
Yeah.
Why?
It was almost like I needed them to sprint down the hallway.
Yeah.
I think one of them did run because it was like, thank you.
Like, come on, we got to cut to commercial. Let's go. Yeah, that was so funny.
And then there's just Lil Wayne backstage hanging with everyone.
Well, he's a Packers fan, so he was there.
Yeah, he came out on a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the commissioner.
Oh my God. If you don't know, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of every sports league, but especially Roger Goodell, whenever they appear in public ever, they get booed. Because they're the bad guy. They're literally bad cop. They're the ones who fine players and suspend players and make rule changes. And no matter how great the rule change is, people will hate it at first. And so he always does a thing where, like, as much as possible, whenever he comes out, he tries to bring someone with him that makes it so it's inappropriate to boo. And so, like, he came out on a bicycle with Lil Wayne, being like, they're going to cheer for Lil Wayne. But what happened was they cheer for Lil Wayne, and the second he appeared, they booed. There was one year that was the funniest year where I think they were like, we can't do that anymore. I swear to God, every first round pick, because he always does the first round picks, every first round pick, he came out with a Make-A-Wish kid. And I swear, like, it was so blatant that I was like, dude, it's not that bad to get booed. Like,
he's shielding himself behind the children.
He was shielding himself behind terminally ill children, which is fucked up to say, but it was very funny in the moment where it was like, oh my God, he's so scared of getting booed again. Now he's got a real good sport about it.
He did say this time, he's like, come on, guys.
He's like, come on, really? Meanwhile, I'll say this too. And I actually think that everybody will admit this, he's by far the best commissioner in any league.
Oh, is he?
He's really good.
Yeah.
The NFL is doing better than any league. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It continues to get better and it's not even close. And he's just bad cop. And you know what? If you don't feel bad for him though, because he makes like $50 million a year.
Yeah.
He makes, I think, only recently did players start making more than he did.
That's so funny.
But he manages he's the CEO of like one of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to make a lot of money.
Earned it.
And he gets booed everywhere. Yeah. You're going to make a lot of money. Back to sports. Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I was going to say another hot sports goss moment this week.
This is another one where we're going to zag a little bit. Okay, so we have some like real tea this week as far as Bill Belichick is concerned.
Okay, I remember him.
Okay, so he's considered the greatest coach of all time. He was the coach of the Patriots when Tom Brady was doing his thing. He won a bajillion Super Bowls, and he's a real character too. Like he's the guy where his press conferences were always like, you'd be like, moving on, next question. Like, yeah. he was like really like blunt and stoic and whatever.
It's all business.
Well, recently he took a job going to college football, which is kind of crazy because it's in theory a step down, but he's coaching UNC. Okay. The reason why he's been so in the news outside of like, oh my God, the greatest coach of all time is coaching UNC is because he has this wonderful 24-year-old girlfriend. He's 73, by the way. Mm-hmm. His children are like older than me. 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson.
Yes.
Okay. She is very involved in his professional and personal life. In fact, that's what he just released a statement saying.
Yes.
Okay. So this past week, he was being interviewed by CBS to discuss what he thought was to discuss a new book that was coming out that he had written called The Art of Winning. In his statement that he released, he said, I had told CBS, I just want to talk about the book. CBS had other plans. They wanted to talk about many of the interesting things, including the fact that he's dating a 24-year-old, Jordan, and that she was clearly very involved with UNC football now, which is not something you expect from anyone's girlfriend.
I believe they asked how they met.
How they met, yes.
Yes.
To which she immediately jumped in and said, we're not talking about that.
I've got thoughts, girl.
I've got thoughts as well about this. Number one, I'm going to say you can selectively edit stuff.
Yeah.
You can make anything look like anything.
Yeah.
For all we know, he said, we're not going to talk about that 500 times. And then at the end, she said, we're not going to talk about it because she was like, maybe another voice needs to come in. What are your thoughts on this situation?
So I've seen the narrative flip on them online because I've actually been following their story pretty closely. And I'll say I guess don't have a popular opinion. It started off with people saying he was gross for dating a 24-year-old or whatever. People, of course, always have strong feelings about age gap relationships, especially like that when he's in his 70s.
When it's a 50-year age gap, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
And so people, were saying like, okay, calling him things like predator or whatever. Like people were just,
predator.
People were calling him a lot of names and saying that he shouldn't be taking advantage of a young girl.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden the narrative slipped to she's abusing him, she's controlling him. Those two things can't be true at the same time, my friend.
Well, they can on the internet. That's what you have to understand.
Yes.
If you're asking for people to not be hypocrites, you're barking up the wrong tree, sister.
Yeah. From what I've seen, apparently they're dynamic. I think he's treating her like a partner. I think that they are partners. I think
she's clearly got a really good business mind.
She does. And she's not doing anything that includes like his money. She's being like, hey, let me be. He probably sees the value in having a younger set of eyes on things in this very evolving world and wants her involved with his correspondence, his business. And he also I kind of like the thought that he sees her as like a smart girl who knows what she's doing and he wants her opinion. I like that.
And can I just, let me reframe it this way too. There is no sports person who's more stuck in a different century than Bill Belichick. Okay. The way he coaches football is not the way football is played today. It's the way it was played in like the 90s or the 80s. Uh-huh. The way he talks with the media, the way he engages with media is something that has been seen since the 50s.
Yeah.
He is smart enough to know, he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
Hey, for me to make it in this sort of second chapter, a very late second chapter, but second chapter of my life, I need someone who fucking knows what's up.
Yeah.
Who else knows what's up more than a 24-year-old girl who lives on the internet?
I think she's
the perfect business partner.
And it seems like she's a pageant girl too. So it's like she's smart with delivering a message, all that stuff. But like her jumping in to say, hey, we're not answering that question, I don't think was her being controlling.
No.
I'm sure he
being
said
protective.
Because normally when you do interviews, a lot of times when there's a celebrity, they say beforehand, hey, they don't want to talk about X, Y, and Z. If we could agree to this, we could do the interview.
Yes.
Obviously, that's what happened before. And he probably said, I don't want to talk about my relationship. I want to talk about my book I'm promoting. Yeah. And which she's not anywhere in the book, I'm assuming. No. It's about his career and stuff like that. She
wasn't even born. Yeah. That was me. How could she be in the book?
She wasn't there yet. She hadn't been born.
Okay, guys. She was born the year that he won his first Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Yeah. Okay?
Okay. She wasn't there yet.
Where he had coached. This was his third NFL team.
Yeah. But, and so I'm sure they already said they do, like these interviews that he's doing, he doesn't want it to be about his actual current personal life, even though they're public, it's not like they're doing interviews and shit together. No. He had probably said, I don't want to. And then when a reporter slimily tries to slide that question in, she's going to stop that in her tracks and basically be like, you're not going to get to make what's supposed to be a book promotion about our relationship and like kind of put us in the tabloids when it doesn't need to be. I totally understand her being like, no.
Especially what you need to understand too is like nobody would have been upset if this was his agent or his manager or his PR person. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
His agent, his manager, his PR person seems to be her, and she seems to be doing a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're also dating, but she's his PR.
Yeah.
If she didn't do that, she'd be doing a bad job.
It wouldn't be weird if he had a 24-year-old PR girl. Like, that's not crazy at all. She clearly is smart. She knows what's going to happen if they talk about the relationship in an interview.
Yeah. So they're shtipping. What does that mean? What's the difference? So they take silly pictures on the beach where he holds her up with his feet.
Yeah.
That was such a funny picture, though.
My favorite is their Halloween pictures.
I mean,
clearly they're having fun together. He dressed up like a fisherman. She was like a mermaid. As funny and crazy as the relationship is, I honestly think that they see each other in a very equal sense.
And absolutely. They clearly very much respect each other. And as a die-hard football fan, and I challenge any diehard football fan to say this isn't the case. There is nothing I've loved more in the past 2 years than seeing Bill Belichick come out of his fucking shell.
Yeah.
That's all we wanted for years. All I wanted for years was for Bill Belichick to participate in Halloween ever. He never would. He dressed as Bill Belichick every year.
Yeah.
Until now. Now he's a fisherman. That's adorable.
Yeah.
I love it. He seems more human.
And from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything, but maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen any of like his family or friends say anything against them.
Because they won't. Because they're like, yeah, she seems great.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, obviously, but it's like I think they're having a good time. I think they're both smart people, and I think that all the weird narratives around them are just like, yeah, it's unconventional, but I kind of think it works.
I would say too, just from this perspective, also in the past couple of years, Bill Belichick has taken a lot of heat. Specifically with that one Patriots documentary that we talked about before, where basically it was made by the owner. The three power players in the Patriots dynasty were obviously Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the owner, Robert Kraft. Those are the three guys where it's like, who gets credit? Robert Kraft, the owner, he wants credit. So he made this 10-part documentary where it's basically how he's the hero. Tom Brady's was obviously a really good quarterback, that he knew he was a good quarterback. And Bill Belichick, if anything, kind of got in the way. Like that was weirdly the messaging of it. He's taken so much flack, and then, of course, it flipped on Robert Kraft. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? He's the greatest coach of all time. Everybody's like, no, Bill Belichick, he's still the GOAT. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know when they got together, but assuming it was sometime around that, I'm pretty sure she was like, let me help you. This can't continue. We can't just keep letting the narrative be driven by other people.
Yeah.
If in every interview, you're just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to be able to say our own story.
Uh-huh.
And he said, you know what? You're fucking right. Mm-hmm. Let's go take silly pictures on the beach.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy my 70s.
Let's enjoy my 70s.
Oh my God. He's a successful man.
Let him enjoy his 70s.
He's earned his happiness.
I know. I just always think the narrative is like, people cannot fathom that maybe she's not just in it for the money. Maybe she's there because they have a respectful relationship or what, and like they see each other in a different way. I mean, maybe the money is a good plus too, but
it's also so funny because you always wonder, I mean, for me at least, I always wonder like, what if I was her father?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys where it's like, I think I'd kind of be like, no way, you're dating Bill Belichick.
I know. That would be kind of crazy.
Like, wait, shit, really?
Like, awesome.
I mean, he's the GOAT. Like, there's a lot of coaches. Like, I'd probably be the same way with like Pete Carroll, but that's just because Pete Carroll seems like a really cool dude. Mm-hmm. Other coaches probably not. I'd be like, what the fuck? But Bill Belichick is like dating Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure she's a pageant girl. She could have dated someone more in her age range or whatever. I think she's a smart girl. I think she sees things in different ways, and she probably wants an older man.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of women like that for some reason people can't fathom that. They want.
In history, that's the way humans have always worked too. Why are we acting like that's not the way it's always been? Like, obviously there's limits and stuff. And like the whole like Mary was 12 when she had Jesus.
Yeah.
We're not talking that. We're not talking that.
We're not talking about that.
But are we really acting like age gap isn't the standard in humanity?
It's like there's obviously nuance to everything, but we live in a world with apparently zero fucking nuance anymore. Mm-hmm. But like I just feel like that whole conversation where people are like, oh my God, they're 3 years apart or whatever. It's like, oh my God, really?
Oh yeah, the 3 years apart thing is so funny.
All it does is we're just back to a culture of infantilizing women after they've been forced to grow up and mature sooner. And then the second that they could actually have their own agency and stuff like that, they're like, nope, you're a kid. And it's like, then why did we raise them like that? I'm kind of rooting for those 2 crazy kids. I think that they complement each other well. I think they're a good team.
I absolutely think they're a good team.
I think people need to let them have their fun pictures on the beach.
Yes.
And let them enjoy themselves.
And by the way, Bill Belichick has shown zero signs of being like senile.
He's still coaching.
He's shown zero signs of slowing down. He's speeding up right now.
Yeah.
He took his 2 years off where, by the way, his 2 years off of coaching, he wasn't taking that off. He was on TV every 2 minutes. People started saying, we're having a little too much Bill Belichick on TV, which is a crazy thought. As a football fan, all we wanted was this. And now we were like, he's kind of oversaturated.
It's a little much.
He's working a little too hard. No, he's good.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we've had a long up.
That was the longest sports gossip. That's the longest I've ever talked in that voice.
Yeah. So I think we'll see you guys next week.
Smoke cigs. All right. Love you guys. Towel off. Pina colada. You know the deal. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.